I love farming because of how productive our land is. So, good morning. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Haoma_KE. Thank you guys for the love and support that you've shown me in my videos. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for those subscribers that always come back to watch my videos. I really appreciate. The birds were feasting on this banana, and so it's time to harvest it. Here in the farm, birds are always the first signs that your crop has matured, especially for the bananas, the maize, and also if you've planted sorghum or millet. So they always first come and eat if your crop has matured. In our farm, we've planted crops that we consume most of the time, and most of these crops are crops that do well in our soil. But funny enough, our soil can accommodate any other crop that I always try out. So I'm not strict to planting other crops here in my farm, but I have both the ripe bananas and also I have the green bananas, which we call the matoke here in Kenya. So I've divided sections in my farm where there's a part of my farm, especially on the edges of the farm, I've planted bananas. The reason why I've done that is that bananas tend to overgrow and also take most of the sections of the farm. So the best way to do it is just to plant on the sides of the farm. The first mistake we did in the beginning is when we planted most of the ripe bananas in the middle of the farm, and I've been trying to uproot most of them and plant on the edges. So because I'm on a mission to try out new crops, I decided to plant the strawberries here, and they have stayed here for like a month now, and I've seen they have started now removing other shoots. I don't know if I'm going to call them shoots or other plants. So I'm using that to propagate a new strawberry plants. So as you can see, the more it stretches, it removes some other shoots. So these shoots, if you want to have a lot of strawberries in your farm, the best way is to take advantage of it and then plant them so that you can have more strawberries. Like this one, I did it and now it's a new plant. So soon I'm going now to transplant them to other parts of the farm. And that's what I did also with the apple. I just bought an apple and then put it in the fridge and planted it on a container and then transplanted it on the farm. So if you've been watching my videos for long, you know I plant my own fruit trees, most of the fruit trees, especially if it is not a fruit tree that I can get it on the market. So our farm is half an acre. So quarter of the section of the farm, we've built our house. And so the other section, we've planted maize. We have fruit trees on this section also. We have the green bananas, the ripe bananas, and also the cassava. So we plant maize that we can eat a year round. And so this is last year's maize. And also inside the maize, we also plant the beans and any other plant that we can plant, any other crop that we can plant there. And so these are the beans that we've harvested this season. And also we have this other section that I've also planted maize, and I've set aside a section where I've planted now my vegetables. And so I've planted different types of vegetables that I consume on a daily basis here in my home, from the garlic to the cowpeas to the ginger to the slender leaf. All those vegetables that we can consume here in our home, I've planted on this section. June and July is always a very cold month here in Western Kenya. And so most of the time, most of the vegetables tend to start burning because we are receiving a lot of rain plus the cold. So I decided now to remove all the cowpeas leaves from this section so that I can plant afresh. And so I'm going to mix the cowpeas with the jute leaves. Also, we call them here in our local language murere. So I've seen most of them are maturing, so I'm just going to leave those that have seeds so that I can um, save the seeds to plant for the next season. So the slender leaves are also maturing, so I'm also going to leave them to produce seeds so that I do not buy seeds. So this is what I always do here in my farm. I save the seeds and plant the next season. So we also created some space on our backyard so that we can have a kitchen garden at the back of the house. And so on this side, I've planted from carrots, and also I've planted the tomatoes this side, and they are also doing so well because maybe the sun is brighter on this side than the other side, because I had planted tomatoes on the other side and they all died. So the ones that are on this side are really doing well. Also on this backyard of the kitchen garden, I've planted also some ginger, and they're really doing well on this side. If you have a backyard kitchen garden, you can attest to it. There is nothing that feels good like just stepping outside and grab your vegetables at your doorstep and then you cook. So this section is always my favorite because I experiment all the herbs and the spices from this section. So today I'm also going to add more vegetables here in my kitchen garden. And the first vegetable that I'm going to plant is the cowpeas. So the breed that I'm going to plant is the black one, the black cowpeas, because they are very good with all the weather patterns, if it is cold, if it is sunny, or if it is rainy. So I'm just going to plant this, and then they also do well, especially they do not need a lot of attention and also maintenance. Also, we are planting also the spider plant. So what I always do, I get the seeds and then I make sure I've mixed the seeds with either compost or just soil. Dry soil is the best. So the purpose of doing this is to create that natural spacing when you're planting them. So the moment they grow, they'll have that natural spacing. And then I just dig a very shallow trenches, and then I drop the seeds on the ground. In 1 month's time, I'll start harvesting again my spider plants, the cowpeas, and also the jute leaves that I'm going to plant also tomorrow. In 1 month's time, there'll be a lot of change here in my farm. And the reason why I'm doing right now, because the rains have a little bit gone down. You remember the cowpeas leaves and the jute leaves that I had harvested? So it's time now to cook now our vegetables. So this is just how I do it. I make sure I just boil them just a little bit for them just to soften a little bit, and then I put this liquid, we call it mshereha here, and so I put it on the liquid and then put in the fire, and then I make sure I do not overcook it, and after some few minutes it will be ready, and then I remove it and I'll just divide it into sections because I'm just cooking for today. So the other remaining ones I'm going to store them in the fridge. So I've had a craving for brown ugali for a very long time. So I decided to cook brown ugali today. I always cook it if I have the traditional vegetables, especially if I'm cooking murere or any other vegetable. So because I had harvested the murere, I decided now to cook the brown ugali. And so when you're cooking your brown ugali, make sure you do not use a lot of heat when you're cooking it. This is to prevent it from burning fast before it's ready. So make sure you just use very low heat when you're cooking it. That's how I was taught, and that's how I always cook it. So we are going to eat this for supper today. Inakaje?
Nakaganda chocolate.
Chocolate.
Tam.
Hii ni chocolate.
Yeah. Chocolate ugali.
So I fried my vegetables with tomatoes and onions and then put some milk, or if you have some cream, you're good to go. So we are eating brown ugali, the vegetables, and some omena. So thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this video till the end, thank you so much. Be blessed. See you in my next video. Bye bye.